Welcome to Cookies Enabled, everybody. I'm Will, your host, and today we're doing something a little different. We're going to do a top 10 of most underrated movies, so stick around and let's learn something new together. Starting our list off at number 10, we have Napoleon Dynamite. This diamond in the rough movie teaches us to listen to your heart and don't let others change who you are, and uses old school / British humor that is funny and has never been redone. Because of how slow and simple this movie is, many missed the point and didn't get to find the subtle nuances as funny as other people. This movie has now been considered a cult classic, and it has not been duplicated in any way as of yet. If you missed this classic, you can stream it now on Hulu, and I hope you guys check it out. At our number 9 slot this week, we have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This movie on my list is one that reminds us that it is better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all. Eternal Sunshine takes an episode of The Twilight Zone and turned it into a full-blown movie. The main character, or Jim Carrey, decides to have a few memories of his ex-girlfriend removed, so he's not sad or depressed about losing her anymore. Unfortunately for him and his girl, they have both been deleting each other's memories over and over, but still keep coming back together. This love story is very slow, but pay attention because it's not all what it seems in this movie. The way they show inner thoughts and how the mind preserves memories was very interesting and reminded me of how I was once in a coma myself, and being able to go through my memories just like a movie and just like they did in the movie. You could even change things around to a specific point until the dream just collapses, just like in the movie. Now, this Hidden Treasure is a strange movie because it will help shed light into the dark areas of our lives that most of us want to forget, but remind us that we need those memories to survive. You can stream this movie now free on Peacock. At number 8, we have the movie Zethera. Zethera was originally intended to be the sequel to the cult classic movie Jumanji with Robin Williams. In Zethera, two brothers find a game in their basement, and once they start playing, they realize they're not on Earth anymore. The movie unfolds similar to Jumanji, and the boys take turns playing and receiving different cards that unleash destructive foes, lizard aliens, and much more upon their house. This simple movie hits a home run with a good cast of kids that are believable, real action, less special effects, which all is just like the original Jumanji, and teaches kids to be careful what they wish for. This movie was a great second installment to the Jumanji series and is forgotten today since it was released the same weekend as Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which stole all the screen time for weeks after its release, making Zathura a footnote in the Jumanji series. Now, if you missed this classic movie and you want to see how the game went from a wood game to a metal game to the video game series, you can check this movie out on Hulu right now. At number 7 this week, we have the movie Accepted. Now, Accepted is a story that seems like it could be real, and it has been said that some of the real colleges that have not been mentioned in this movie did actually get started, kind of similar to how this movie actually plays out. Now, in this story, students who did really good in high school just got bad fortunes upon them and just struggled to get into college or were refused to get into college because of the low enrollment rates and high tuition fees. So because of these major issues, these students decided, why not just make our own college and just do it ourselves? And so that's exactly what they did. And these students not only came up with their own college, but actually started to allow anyone who was denied access to other universities or colleges to start coming to learn and teach at their own college. So these clever college students make their own college and start allowing anyone who was denied elsewhere to not only learn, but even teach at their schools. This over-the-top comedy plays out as a neighboring university tries to shut them down so they can expand their own university. This amazing story reminds me that even if you're not like everyone else, it's important to be yourself and stick it to the man. Unfortunately, this classic isn't streaming for free on any of the services that I could find, but you can be rented or purchased on Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, Vudu, and many more streaming services. Next on our list at number 6, we have The Imitation Game. This amazing true story is the second one on my list, and I couldn't leave it off. This film follows the life of Alan Turing, who is the man responsible for the first real computer. Now, back in World War II, the Nazis had a machine known as the Enigma machine, and it allowed them to send encoded special messages to different ships without other people being able to read or decode the messages. And this was a huge problem for the United States and for the British government, who formed a special group of men to find a way to break the Enigma machine and stop the war. And they were actually very successful thanks to Alan's work. Now, unfortunately for Alan, his life ended pretty brutally badly, mainly because of the time period and how things play out. Now, without spoiling the story for y'all, definitely take a look at this one. It is a very humbling movie. It does have a sad ending, but it is based on reality, and poor Alan is only now getting recognition for what he did back in the day. And we thank you again, Alan, and another reason why you're on our number 6 list. You can stream The Imitation Game now for free on Netflix, and I definitely recommend checking that one out. At number 5 on our list, we have one of the most visually stunning movies on it, which is Speed Racer. Now, some of you may find this next movie to be kind of a surprise, since it's actually a kids' movie, but let me explain that this is one of the most visually stunning movies I have ever seen to date. Speed Racer came out in 2008 and was written and directed by the Wachowskis, who also came up with The Matrix. And did okay in the box office, grossing $93.9 million, and the movie did a good job taking the comic book city and making it feel real. Then they added amazing actors just to help pull at those heartstrings, and let me tell you, this actually worked. The movie gets more visually stunning as you go through it, and there is so much detail in this movie, it is so easy to miss all of what's going on, especially in the background. There is a vast number of Easter eggs hidden in the background, really that just make this movie shine, and you can tell they put all that little extra detail, making sure every little set piece was exactly what it needed to be. And the main reason it did so poorly in the theaters was honestly because of Iron Man, which came out the week prior to this movie, and then the sequel to The Chronicles of Narnia came out the week after. So unfortunately, 2 blockbuster movies sandwiched in between another really visually stunning movie kind of just overshadowed Speed Racer, and it was very soon pushed out of the theaters and onto Blu-ray, DVD, and Ultra Blu-ray DVD very quickly. Now, this movie is hard to find, and I had a hard time finding it, but you can stream it on Hulu now. I strongly recommend, if you do have a 4K TV or higher, definitely try and find an actual Ultra HD version. You can purchase those or rent them on Vudu, just to make sure you're getting the best visual experience for this movie. Okay, coming in at number 4 today, we have Warcraft. This hugely successful video game series fully became a full-fledged movie in 2016. Now, unfortunately, the movie did poorly in the US box office, mainly due to little advertising for the movie, and it came out the same weekend as Now You See Me 2, which grossed $334.9 million worldwide, as well as The Conjuring 2, which also grossed $320 million, and both overshadowed the Warcraft movie completely in the box office. Now, this movie held true to the original games of Warcraft and did a great job making the characters not only feel real, but the story also wasn't hard to understand, figure out, or follow along with. If you liked Avatar, this movie is literally right up your alley. Warcraft was longer than most other movies in the box office, which is probably another reason why it was overlooked when it was actually in the box office. Now, you can actually purchase this movie. Unfortunately, it is not available to stream anywhere for free, but it can be purchased on Vudu Amazon, YouTube TV, and many more, and I strongly recommend getting this one in Ultra HD as well. So at number 3, we have the movie Dark Waters. Dark Waters is a true story that covers a few decades of real history and does a fantastic job displaying how some companies will go to great lengths to hide the truth about their deadly products. This story starts slow and doesn't really pick up and become interesting until about halfway through. And this slow start to the movie is actually key to the true events in real life, as this long process actually really happened. Without spoiling too much of the story, a big-name chemical company finds themselves in hot water after releasing something to the public as safe, when in reality it's actually deadly. This true story makes my list since I grew up around this chemical all the time, and still to this day can't seem to find a way to stay away from it. Now, this movie is currently streaming on Peacock, and I strongly recommend picking it up and watching it if you got the time. In our number 2 spot this week, we have the movie Big Fish. Big Fish teaches you to follow your heart no matter how small you may feel, and we are all small fish in a very big sea. This inspirational movie touched many lives when it was released, and it was said to be a current generation of The Wizard of Oz, and I honestly have to agree. By taking true stories and making them unbelievable, almost made the stories seem even more real and realistic and relatable. Plus, the way the story ends where it started is a perfect metaphor for life, and I think this is one of Tim Burton's best films of all time. You can stream Big Fish for free right now on your Netflix subscription. Lastly on our list, we have one of my all-time favorites, but hardest to find of all, which is Pirates of Silicon Valley. As I mentioned, it's one of my all-time favorite movies, but it is also one of the hardest to find because it is a made-for-TV movie that was put together by Warner Brothers Studios and TNT Studios. Both TNT and Warner Brothers released this movie on the TNT network and was aired several times, and then bumped to DVD as most made-for-TV movies do. This movie covers the in-depth look at how Apple and Microsoft both got their start from literally nothing at all. You see Bill Gates dropping out of college to write programming code for the Altair, and you see Steve Jobs finding Steve Wozniak, and they start building the first Apple computer together. This movie ends right as Steve Jobs is getting fired from his job at Apple, and Microsoft is taking off with Windows, sweeping the world. This movie is so good at showing the real relationship between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, as well as how they both went extremely different directions in starting their companies and making business deals that to this day are held to be some of the best deals ever made in the business world. Now, I could go on and on and on about this movie and explain all the ins and outs of it, but instead I will let you try to pick it up on your own, and you can find it now on Amazon, and buying the DVD is the cheapest option next to renting it. Now, I want to say thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this little different episode that we did this week. Let us know what you guys think of our list. Should I have added different movies? Was there a few that I completely missed or should be on this list as the most underrated movies of all time? If you think so, let me know in the comments below. Again, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. So check us out on there if you guys got the time. Now, I know I learned something new, and I hope you guys did too. Thanks for sticking around. I'll see you guys all next week. Take it easy, everybody.